So welcome to part 2 on this MX5 that we're doing the respray on. If you haven't seen part 1, I have left the link in the description for part 1 on this MX5, where we go through all the prep work and the paint work that we did to turn it into what it currently is now. So in today's video, we're going to be going through the flat and polishing work on this, and a few other little bits and pieces as well, and I'll just show you through the stages that I go through in the workshop, flat and polishing this up, and how we turn this from looking like a really nice car into an absolutely stunning mirror finish paintwork car. So let's get into this video. So following straight on from last week's video, we're going to go straight into the wet flat stage and show you guys how we're going to mirror finish the paintwork on this car. So as you'll already know, it was already quite smooth off the gun, very little nibs in it, but to me, if you want that perfect mirror finish across a car, you need to go through the wet flat and polishing stage. You're not going to do it with a fresh off the gun finish. Now, that's obviously not to say that you can't get a really nice off the gun finish, but if you're looking for that perfect mirror flat finish, then you just won't achieve that off the gun, even if you use a flow coat. So for me, the easiest way to achieve that, put a real nice finish down, P2000 wet flat, and then here we're going to use the P3000 Trizac. We're going to put this on our Merca electric sander. We're just going to lightly dampen the panel down. You don't want it absolutely drenched. They don't tend to cut as well when the panel is absolutely drenched. And you want to make sure the pad's nice and wet before you start. And then we're going to go over this nice and methodically, the same as we would, almost as if we were polishing it or spraying it. And you want to go over each section a couple of times. Don't rush this stage, because this stage is going to take those 2000 wet flat marks right up to 3000, which is going to take absolutely minutes to polish, and minutes to polish back to an absolute mirror finish as well if you've done the first stage of this right, which was the P2000 wet flat. Now if you want, I will put some links in the cards in the top right hand corner for you guys in a bit, so you can see some of the other polishing videos that I've got that go through step by step how to get that absolute perfect mirror finish, but we will be going through all the stages in this video anyway. And before we get too far into this video, guys, 27% of you guys that are watching are subscribed, but 72% aren't. So if you do me a favor, if you get something out of these videos, if you're enjoying our videos, hit that subscribe button for me and hit the bell to be notified of when we've got a new upload. So as you're watching me going across this panel, you can see that nice light foam that's coming up. Now that obviously is a slight bit of foam caused by the random action of the sander, but also the water and the paint that is being flatted at the same time. Now it is key to make sure that you try and keep your pads clean, so every now and again you do just want to use a nice pressure bottle like this and get all that excess paint off your pad to try and keep your pad clean as you're going along the car. Don't just do it every panel or every other panel. You want to really do it when you get about halfway through a panel, so you can keep the pad clean, keep it cutting really nicely, because these pads, I think I worked this out, we buy these pads in and they work out as about £3.75 each. So you're talking 2 pads to do a car. Obviously that's just it's over £7 just for 2 pads to Trizac this car up. Now once you think you've got it Trizac'd up, dry it down, give it a little blow down with the airline, and you can see the difference now in the 2 finishes. One is very random and not so nice, and the other one is very smooth and uniform. Now I do this panel by panel as I go across the car. I clean it off with the cloth, give it a bit of a blow down with the air, so I can check each one stage by stage as I'm going around the car. Now when I got to the quarter panel on this side, I put a fresh disc on, which meant I was cutting with a fresh disc again, and then worked all the way around and did all this side and the bonnet. So I've done basically half the car per disc. Now once you're happy that everything is Trizac'd up, then obviously we're on to the polishing stage, and again cleanliness is key. So I'm just using a really old beat up wire brush here just to clean the pad off, to make sure that pad is nice and fresh and there's no solid old clumped up compound on that pad. You want a nice fresh clean pad to go at. Now you can wash them, but we use these all day every day, so it's easier just to give them a quick clean out with something like a stiff nylon brush, or you can just use the back edge of something like a wire brush, but obviously being extremely careful that obviously none of the wires stick into the foam pad, because that would spell disaster when you came to polish the car. Now again, and I've always tried to say this in videos, don't overload too much polish on your pad all at once. I put quite a substantial amount on this pad to start off with then, because it is literally like using a fresh, dry, brand new pad. And I'm just going to give it a little bit of a load up again now, because it's quite a warm day. And then that's going to do me those 2 spots in effect, and the wetness that is already on this buffing pad will do the whole side of this wing, or at least the whole section that we've got polished out so far, right the way up to the front. That's going to be more than enough. Now obviously with fresh paintwork, you also need to be extremely careful about your edges. Now one thing when I used to work at a factory and I was teaching lads to polish there was, your buffer obviously has a rotation. You always want the rotation to rotate off the panel. You never want it to be rotating at the edge of the panel. You always want it to be sliding off. That way there is a lot less resistance. So if we just show you here, obviously if this is rotating at this, then there's a lot of resistance and a lot of grip, and that can burn through really easy when you're polishing. Whereas if you just angle the polisher the other way, so with the rotation is taking the polishing head off rather than at that edge, then your chances of burning through are very, very slim, and it makes for a really quick, easy polishing. Now when you first start polishing, flipping the angles up constantly on the polisher to make sure that that head is constantly going off that edge and not at that edge does seem a little bit strange, and you do kind of feel like you're trying to have to be a little bit double jointed. But as you can see from me here, once you've been doing it for a little while, and I don't mean like 20 years like I have, once you've been doing it for just like a month or so, polishing your own jobs up, you soon get used to the fact that the safest way for you to polish is with that compounding head or that polishing head, whichever it may be, to be running off a swage line rather than at a swage line. It's a lot safer and a lot less abrasive. And obviously as a shop or an individual at home, the last thing you want is a redo. Now one thing that I will say is, when you're polishing direct gloss, do not be too scared that your pad is turning the same colour as the paint on your car, because obviously you are buffing directly onto the colour, so therefore the colour obviously will transfer to your pad. It's nothing to be scared of. If you've got enough paint on there like we have, then it's not an issue. You'll also notice that I'm using brand new cloths for this. It's a dark colour, so I want to make sure I use some brand new cloths so I can get that absolutely spot on mirror finish. Now you can see there with the compound, that front edge of that wing's done, and there we've got the unpolished side of it, and you can already see the reflection off that. Now we will leave this at the compounding stage, and then we will rebuild the car, and then with a random orbital dual action polisher we will then give it a final polish before the customer picks it up to add that last perfect gloss over the paintwork. But at this stage there's no need for me to do the 2-stage gloss. All I need to do is get this first major cutting stage out of the way. We can then get the car rebuilt, the door handles put in, all the rubbers put back in, all that sort of stuff. Because obviously there's going to be a lot of hands over it and that sort of thing. There's going to be sheets to protect it. There's going to be tape put on it to protect it while it's getting rebuilt. So there's no point doing that second stage as yet. We'll do that second stage afterwards. Okay guys, in this week's video I would like to give 2 special mentions. Firstly to Martin from Midland Auto Centre. I was chatting to him last Sunday on the premiere and he asked if I could give him and his team a little bit of a shout out. So big shout out to you guys. Hope you are all enjoying your Sunday afternoon. And the second one, which is a little bit of a special one for me, is someone who I always have to say is my #1 fan, who every single Sunday at the exact time or on a Friday, whenever one of my videos goes live, my little girl Mia is always sat there waiting for Dad's new video to go live. And she really is by far my #1 fan, and she's a special little girl to me. So I just wanted to give her an extra special little mention in this week's video, as it was her birthday and she turned 9 yesterday. So happy birthday Mia, and Daddy loves you lots. And also a huge shout out to all our channel members who have joined on the monthly subscription. That little bit each month really does help us to produce more content and up the editing and also up the camera equipment and move forward with the channel in a way that I want to move this year. My goal for this year is to try and hit at least 50,000 subscribers. So if anyone's watching this now and you are not subscribed, you're enjoying the content, you're enjoying the video, you're enjoying this in-depth look with all these hints and tips, then please smash that subscribe subscribe button, and let's help us reach that 50,000 subscriber mark. So as you can probably see, that is the main polishing stage done and dusted, and you can just see from the reflection in the side of this car and just how clear I am coming through that reflection, just how nice and flat and well polished this is now. Like, if I took a picture of that door and posted that to Instagram, you wouldn't know that I'd just taken a picture of the side of the spray booth. For me, this is the ideal way to get that mirror finish look to a car. I get a lot of questions all the time from people. What is the best way to spray that ultimate glassy finish? And I would say the best spray gun that you could buy to get that ultimate glassy finish for a mirror finish paintwork car would be some wet flat and a polisher. Yes, you can get close with the spray gun, but I don't care how good you are with the spray gun or how much of a great painter you think you are. If you want that ultimate pure flat finish, the only way you are getting there is by polishing it. Now, I know that'll go a lot against a lot of guys will say. They'll say, no, you can get it off the gun. You can't. It's almost impossible to get it from a gun. Just for the fact that the way that paint lands, the air pressure and everything else, and just gravity as well, actually physically stops you from being able to get a perfectly mirror flat finish on the side of a door and on a bonnet and on a roof and everything like that, if it's laid in the right orientation on the car that it would naturally be. It's just a physical impossibility to get a pure flat finish. Now, in the T5 video series that we've just recently done on the Volkswagen T5 that we did for Lewis, a lot of you guys were interested in the powder coating stage. Now, obviously, we've got a powder coating business at the shop, and a lot of you were asking me if I would start making powder coating videos and adding them to the channel because it's something that you'd really like to see. Unfortunately, it is something that I just do not have time to do. I have so much on running the business and also running this channel and all the social media for it. It's just not something that I would be able to do. However, my business partner on the powder coating side, Mick, has expressed interest and decided to open his own powder coating channel and video channel for you guys on YouTube, called Unique Coatings. Now, I will leave a link in the description to his channel. Obviously, this is all the work that we do at our shop. Mick will be making videos on the different parts that we do, like the wheels and restoring different bits and pieces, bike frames, brake calipers, all the sorts of stuff that we have in for powder coat and whatnot. Now, this obviously is Mick's first attempt at making a YouTube video. I have given him a little bit of help on the editing side and also on a few other bits and pieces with the channel to help him get going. But obviously, I've got a big community in you guys, and you guys have always been so loyal to me, and I know you like the content because obviously it's a lot more UK based than most channels, so I know a lot of you guys watching are from the UK, and obviously all the products and materials and equipment and everything that we will be using on the powder coating channel will obviously be all, again, stuff that is accessible to you. Mick is going to try and upload a video a week. He may struggle a tiny bit with that to start off with, obviously, because editing videos is very demanding time wise. But as things go on and he progresses more, the videos are only going to get better and better. So if you guys can go and show him a little bit of love and support, it would personally mean a lot to me, and I know it would mean a lot to Mick as well. So the way that we normally do jobs at the shop is we will do the main shell and the bulk of the parts. Now, the main shell and the bulk of the parts are now in the workshop, so that the lad in the workshop can now be rebuilding like all the door cards back on. He can be getting all the window rubbers back in, getting all the trims and all the bits and pieces on the part that's done, all built up and rebuilt. While he's doing that, I'll get the next set of parts through the booth and get these painted for him, baked off, polished, so these can be bolted back on and ready polished as well. I don't like to bolt them on and then polish them. I like to polish them first and then bolt them back on. It just makes life a lot easier and keeps the job a lot cleaner during the rebuild stage, and also means that if I do the parts in stages, then there's not too many freshly painted parts kicking around the shop that we're trying to keep in storage on the side, that there's a risk of them getting covered in dust, or it's sod's law that someone walks past and just catches a part, and all it takes is a slightest little knock, and then these brand new freshly painted polished parts are going to get chipped. So for me, I will get these painted, I'll get them baked off, and then the very next morning we'd get them polished up, and then the lad would have finished on the stage of the rebuild that he was on the day before. So then he could take these fresh parts, start putting these back on the car and rebuilding these sections while I finish off the final parts. Now the final parts would be the roof, the front bumper, and one of the other little light trims and the rear number plate trim, just because I wasn't quite happy with a repair on the light trim, so that went back out the spray booth to get re-repaired and then go back in again. But this gives him bits now that he can get the rear bumper done, he can get all the back end tied up, he can get the undersealing on the rear arches where we've done the welding done, and all those little odds and ends start getting badges and lights and trims and number plates, stuff like that back on this stage. Also get it out, give it a rinse, get it ready for the polishing stage once these last bits have all gone back on. So in part 3 on this, we will go through the final little bits of paintwork, we will go through its final polish that we always give every car, normally a day or two before the customer picks the vehicle up, and also give you guys a look and a walk around of this final car. So I'm going to leave you with a little bit of painting footage of these final parts and a nice little look at the end of the video shortly of these parts, how these came out at the end. Also, before I do go, I am painting these parts in exactly the same way that I did the first ones. So again, we're going for 3 coats. We're going nice and carefully on this first coat with a little less fluid, just to get one nice even layer down and make sure that we've caught all these edges and we've left no real major see-through areas or bits that we've completely missed. Then for the second coat, we're going to go about half a turn out further on the fluid and go for another nice, careful but slightly wetter coat. And then on the third coat will be a full turn further out in the fluid than we were on the first coat, and going for a much tighter 70% overlap, which will give us that nice wet finish for a nice easy quick polish to make this absolutely flat from top to bottom, inside and out, and give you that really stunning repaint look when this car is done and polished at the end. So I hope you guys are enjoying this video, and don't forget guys, if you are and if you get something from these videos, it costs you nothing at all to hit that subscribe button. Just hit the subscribe button and also click the bell to be notified of all new uploads. So whenever we have a new upload going live, and hopefully this coming week we'll have 2 uploads a week going live from this week, which give you guys double the content. So obviously you don't want to miss out on any of that content if you enjoy the video. So hit subscribe, hit the bell, that way every time we've got a new upload you will get that little notification in your inbox and you can join us for our new video. So that's it for me for today guys, and I'll see you again soon for the next one. Bye for now.
While you and me repeat, this bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart afire. Secrets and forbidden bliss, can't stay still, don't stop.